Cowboys Nation, your boy Mike Tag here. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you guys are watching it. Getting ready to head out on a plane, heading out west. Maybe I'll make a pit stop in Vegas for the Super Bowl this weekend. We'll see how it goes. But just wanted to drop a quick video. Hope everyone's doing well. Off season, I missed the regular season already and getting the start of it, and hopefully a better run in the playoffs next year. But we'll get into that. We got all off season to go through it, but just thinking about the coaching search. Obviously, some interviews going on this week, and the more we've talked about it on the show, make sure you hit that like, subscribe, and also share with Cowboys Nation. I'm never good at saying that, but we appreciate the support to the channel, having a great time, and the ongoing subscribers. Like I had said before, is we got this bad giveaway. If you missed the Bob Lilly interview, Mr. Cowboy himself, we got a few Funko Pops he signed, full inscriptions of everything on it. Man, look bad in any Cowboys cave. We'll be giving that away when we hit our 3,000 subscriber, and then at 5,000, we've got 2 tickets, my club seats. You could take me, take Kelly, take Jimmy D, anyone on the show, or say screw you guys. I'm going to take who I want. But those 2 would be yours. We're going to be doing that giveaway hopefully before the season we get to that 5,000 mark. But thinking about the coaching search, to me, Zimmer is probably the going to be the pick. I think if you're breaking him and Rivera down, I would like Zimmer to be the pick. He's got some stability. He's been very good. Been a defensive coordinator for a long, long time. Obviously, wasn't last year. Was at Jackson State, I think, the year before with Dion, kind of consultant. But he's been a head coach in Minnesota. Been successful. Was in the NFC Championship game with them. Cincinnati, Marvin Lewis, they always had solid defenses. And of course, with the Cowboys in some of the lean years, the defenses were actually the only bright spot we had. And then obviously with Parcells, he was able to transition into a 3-4. So he can run. He's very flexible in the kind of defense he does, but he brings some intensity. I know Kelly played his little clip, and it's kind of gone viral as the search goes on. He's going to bring some. He's going to bring some intensity, some culture. But more importantly, if you listen to James Washington, who we had on, last week, 2-time Super Bowl champion, the biggest thing he said with the Cowboys is accountability amongst the players. So, to me, they're talking about all in and all in. It's not really the coaches, because I don't think any of the coaches are going to prove to me they're all in. Vrabel is probably the sexy pick that would kind of maybe get Cowboys Nation pumped up a little bit. He's been to the Super Bowl, won championships, so I like that culture he can bring. But it's going to come down to the players. It's going to come down to what are they going to do in the offseason to prove to Cowboys fans and really, to everyone else that they're serious. And they didn't really make some of the moves in, during the season when they had some injuries and stuff to kind of change things up on the defense. And again, I don't know if it was Quinn's decision or if it was Jerry's, decision on not bringing in or not going after certain players, especially when we were thin in certain spots. But I'm, I've moved on from the last season, trying to focus on next season. I know there's been some that just say, hey, get rid of Dak, call this a wash. And if they want to do that, I mean, I don't think it would be a wash if they did that. I think it'd be very difficult with the salary cap and everything that goes with it. But what I do think they should do is make it open competition. And if there is a quarterback in the draft that's in a spot where they see some value, is I think the Cowboys, I think the one thing they haven't done very well is they haven't drafted quarterbacks. And you see these other teams always bringing in quarterbacks, and whether it be for, you never know, you get that diamond in the rough, or it could be something that you could trade and garner some draft picks with it as well. So that's what I want to see the Cowboys do in the offseason, is what are they going to do to improve the roster? We've talked about running back. We've talked about linebacker. I mean, those are givens. But it's the little things that they can do. And it's not necessarily breaking the bank, but it's bringing in guys with championship experience, a mentality, changing the culture. I mean, you go in and get, a linebacker like Devin White or David, from the Bucks, that type of guy, or Queen from Baltimore. They bring a mentality, they bring a culture. You can kind of see it. So I think that's the type of thing that I want to see from them in the offseason is what are they going to bring in the draft. I don't want all our eggs in the draft. Obviously, we want to do the best picks in the draft, but I think they put a lot of pressure on the draft picks that they've got to be immediate impact now. And I think that kind of does some of them a disservice, but there's going to be some changes, right? So Gallup's probably not going to be back. Tolbert's really going to, he showed he's got the ability last season and he's getting going, but he's going in his third year and it's like, all right, now we got to put it together. Wide receiver 2, I like Brandon Cooks, but I think if you had an opportunity, if it made sense that you can go get it, like a Mike Evans or someone like that to do opposite of CD Lamb. Mike Evans is in the latter part of his career, but he's still a guy that he's gotten 1,000 yards like every year he's been in the league. But he's just a different type of player than CD, and I think it just complements everything well. Big physical guy. So it's going to be interesting. Hopefully they got their stuff together, but more importantly, Super Bowl weekend. It's always bittersweet. You see all the Super Bowl highlights, you see all the stuff, and I was going through down memory lane, and I'm like, man, I just found a picture of me when the Cowboys in the Super Bowl. I was like, boy, that was a long time ago. It's been a long time ago. And, they have got to. I'm getting sick of saying that 6th Super Bowl championship. I was looking back at the Facebook memories come up, and there was one from 15 years ago, and I said we're on the quest for that 6th Super Bowl championship, and I'm like, Jesus, I'm still on that quest. 28 years later, now going to be 29 years later. So I mean, these Cowboys got to get it going. Jerry already sent out the invoice. I got my invoice for my seat license. It's due on March 1st. And I'm like, man, let's see you do a few things. Get me excited. Get me give me a little hope that there's going to be some things that are different. But, if you listen to our show long enough, and we've had some great, former Cowboys on the show, and I urge you, if you haven't, spend the off season, spend some time, play it at work, listen to these guys. Because you listen to a Moose Johnston, you listen to James Washington, you listen to a Tony Hill, Charlie Waters, Bob Lilly, I mean, George Teague. I mean, the list goes on and on. Eugene Lockhart, Craig Morton. I mean, all these Cowboy legends that we've had on this show. The theme is the same. The theme is the same as accountability. It's passion, it's wanting to win that championship, it's team mentality. And James Washington said something that you know kind of, it hurts a little bit, but it does have you know some merit to it. Is this team just, they don't appreciate maybe, or don't respect the past and want to create their own. And that's what the 90s team did. They respected the team of the 70s, but they wanted to create their own dynasty. They wanted to create their own memory, and that's what they did. And it just seems like the Cowboys now, it's 53, three 53 brands between all these players and all the things that they do. And I mean, that's what the star gives you. But also, like he said, is you win a Super Bowl in Dallas, you're what we call in the mob a made man. I mean, you look at a lot of the former players. I mean, Kenny Gant he was a key part to the team, but he was just he was a role player. I mean, he was special teams. He found his niche, the shark, and I mean, he was a lot of fun. And hopefully, we're gonna get him on the show soon. But he's still doing signings. He's still doing this. He's still doing that. Every tailgate party he's at. I think it's a Cowboys Experience tailgate party, and people love him. I mean, you win a Super Bowl in Dallas, you're a made man forever. You're always going to be in Cowboy lore, and especially with the drought that the Cowboys had. I mean, geez, if they win, I mean, I don't know what Twitter would do. I don't know what ESPN and NFL Network would do, but it would be crazy. But the players have just got to get that mentality, and you've got to bring in the players. I always say is they've got to win in spite of Jerry, in spite of the glam, in spite of all the things that the bright lights that are on there. You got to be able to do that. And it takes a certain kind of player to do it. And it takes a certain, leadership and everything that goes with it. It's not easy. I mean, we've seen it 30 years. You got to remember, and Jimmy, in those first early years with the Cowboys, they weren't very good. They weren't the talk of the town. They were they were what we call the little brother of the division, right? You had the Giants, you had Washington, Philly was better than them, and Dallas. They worked their way up, and then once they, obviously winning them Super Bowls, then it was the brightest lights he can be, and you give Jerry a lot of props for his marketing and everything like that with the Cowboys, but it's been too long. So defensive court, I know I got long-winded on a few topics, but I want to get everything off my chest before I head out. But we've got live show Thursday night. Kelly K9. I'm sure he's got a special guest filling in for Mike Tag here. I don't know how you could do that, but I'm sure there's going to be a great one that's going to be joining Kelly Thursday. So make sure you check out the live show. Make sure you keep that alert bell because we drop videos. Kelly, you'll see people in the Cowboys Cave family dropping videos. So you'll get alerted on that. And then we're always live, and we'll be live I'll be back on Monday doing a little Super Bowl recap, but also just kind of seeing what's going on. I got a feeling our defensive coordinator will be announced this week, very soon, probably by the end of the week, if not today. So we can move past that, kind of look at what he does, maybe see some of the defenses he had and how our personnel will fit. I know, and looking at the defense coordinators in contention, linebacker, all of them had linebackers. All of them had big linebackers. So you got to think they see the need and they'll get that thing going. So anyway, I appreciate it. I got to head off to the airport. You guys have a great day. Enjoy it. Leave a comment. What do you guys think with the Super Bowl, with the defensive coordinator search? Who do you want? Who would you be upset about? Who would get you pumped up? Or you're like, I'm not worried about it, man. I need to see some players. And more importantly, I think what's going to happen is we're going to need something going on in the playoffs. That's going to be hanging over their head all year. It's going to be a tough year for Cowboys fans because they're going to hear it every single week, no matter how we do. 1-0, 2-0, 3-0, 5-0, 8-0, win the division, whatever. They're all going to say, well, let's just see what happens. Just wait, like Stephen A. Smith always says. And I'd love to smack back at him, but right now I really have not much to say. Got to deal with it. So that's what we'll be doing. You guys have a great one. Have a great weekend. If I don't talk to you before then, make sure you hit that subscribe, like, share. Peace out.
Give me somebody that's hungry. Give me somebody that's hungry. I need somebody.